I just got back from my latest trip, and because of circumstances that changed everything, I got to do something I've dreamed of my whole life. I had my entire trip planned out, like every place to stay, every place I was going, pictures, maps, the works. Cataloochee Valley, onto a meetup with friends in Arkansas, then on to White Sands, City of Rocks, Pistachio Land. I'm at this meetup. We're all just doing what you do at van meetups. Everybody's looking at everybody's vans, talking about places they've been, places they're going. So one evening we get to talking, and somebody said out loud, you can park on the beaches of Texas. And I heard it, and I literally left my body for a moment. I grabbed my computer, I started Googling, I saw that you actually could. So I returned to the group and basically announced that I was ditching my whole trip and going to the beaches of Texas. Padre Island, its beach from the dunes to the water is not a long beach, and you have to look at the seaweed line, because the seaweed line will tell you where the tide came in the night before, and if it looks like, you shouldn't park there. So anyway, like by day 3, I'd filmed everything there was to film, pretty much, it looked like, and I kind of found myself with nothing to do. I'm writing a novel. The screenplay I wrote, hello, baby. It has so much story in it, so much going on, so much depth, and really so much beauty that it should be a novel, because that's where you could really get deep into the heads of these people and the interior life, as well as the thematic underpinning and all that kind of stuff. So, but I've never written one. So I actually asked Gemini AI not to write it for me, but to sort of be a teacher of writing a novel. This Gemini program knows me quite well, and it knows I write screenplays. So what it did was it translated what I know as a screenplay into how it switches a little to be a novel. And then I went through a little bit of I know the story so well that I was able to sort of place things where I wanted it. And then I wrote the first first 2 pages. And I had no confidence. Every single word I doubted. I mean, it was really kind of depressing. To doubt yourself is not a good place to be, because it takes you out of anything real and puts you in other stuff that occurred that makes you now doubt yourself. Things people said, I have a big button on not having for screenwriting. I have a ton of training, but when I wrote my musical, I had a ton of musical training growing up. I had 9 years of piano lessons and clarinet lessons. And I was a ballerina. So, I mean, I had a good feel for music. And I actually had a teacher that taught me classical piano. So I knew how to compose. I knew everything I needed to know. But there was some young punk I was hanging out with that, in his underhanded little way, made me feel like I didn't have a right to write a musical, to call myself a musician, even though writing a musical is more about, the story and the lyrics than it's about the actual music. Although I did get a program called Ableton, and I wrote all the music. So that made me feel bad. And I think just growing up, maybe even just being a girl, when I started doing my van, there were people that sort of assumed I wouldn't succeed. And they actually had a right to assume. I was diving into something I'd never done, whether you're a girl or a boy. Diving into it is, who knows? It could be anything. But here's the other part. I grew up pigeon-toed with scoliosis, dyslexia, mildly on the spectrum, and insanely shy. I didn't speak to anyone. I asked questions in my head and answered them myself. I passed a gas station. It said happy motoring. The dyslexia and my inability to sound things out thought it said happy mothering. So I sat in the back of the car going, happy mothering. Why would a gas station wish for happy mothering? And like, I just came up with answers. It's like, well, families traveling get gas and it's a very family event and they're saying happy mothering because the mother is, I mean, and then like words like picturesque. I thought it was pictures cue. So, and it's back to like second grade, learning to read. I had my new pencil case laid out. I had I was ready to go, a new outfit. It was this program called SRA, which is a color-coded system where you sort of read at your own pace. So I walked up with every other student and got my first color, and I read it, and I noticed that everyone else was turning it in for the next color. And I was thinking to myself, they don't know there's questions in the back. They just read this thing and put it back. They don't know about the questions. But so I answered the questions. I was really far behind. And, after a couple days or whatever, I was really far behind. So I decided, I walked home from school one day, practically in tears, thinking, I can't let my parents know I'm this stupid, this much more stupid than everybody else. So I have to find a way around this. It's like, if you get diagnosed, you can sit back and just celebrate in glory that your job is easier than everyone else because you get more time. But if you're never diagnosed and you want to survive, you come up with how to do it. So from that moment on, every time I picked one up, I went to the questions first, then I skimmed to find the answers, and pretty soon I was caught up. But then we had to read out loud, and I sounded like I was 5. So I ended up living in the art room because I was good there. I was safe there. I wasn't slow there. And I was out of my head. It brought me great pleasure. And then come 9th grade, somebody gave me a diet pill and I started talking. And then I started waitressing. And like, it was okay because I think my problem is like approaching people and starting a conversation, because I go to try to approach them and my brain starts going, what if they don't like me? What if they don't want to talk to me? What if they laugh at me? What if they walk away? Like, all that stuff is going on in my brain, and I just go and sort of freeze. It's like, but as a waitress, you have to go to their table. And I was a writer at the time, so I would go to the tables and I would ask questions of the people so that I would have material for writing. I'd tell them I'm writing a screenplay. And so it was really, really fun. Plus, we got to wear whatever we wanted as long as it was black. So it was like you got paid to be out socializing. That was at House of Blues, Los Angeles. Oh, look at you. Yeah, I think I might stay here for a while because the fish smell you get used to. No, you really don't. It stinks. I woke up the next morning. Actually, I think I woke up the morning after the next morning, like 2 nights there. And the water had come all the way up under my rear tires. I had to move. I had to figure out like what to do next. I could follow my plan, which was to go up to the next beach, Mustang Beach, then all the way up to the end of the island, Aransas Beach, then take the free ferry across to the mainland. That was my original plan. It wasn't going to work because it turns out there's a canal in the middle of it, so you can't just drive straight all the way up. So I packed up, pulled out the computer, found my next beach. It was outside of a town called Freehold, which is like up in the Houston area, about 3 hours away from where I was. So I drove all the way up there and I found the most perfect beach. This one had a really long beach from water to dune. The sand was hard as a rock. There was clearly major traffic that drove between the dunes and like where you'd park and the actual shoreline. because there was like tread marks from tires all over the place. Some people rode horses across the beach. Every now and again a car would drive by, but it was pretty empty. A storm was clearly coming because the sky had like grayish tones. I'm peeking out the sunroof hole of my van. The waves are frantic. I've never got to watch a storm like this before. See the beauty of living in a van. You see all facades of nature. I'm gonna show you out the door. It's actually not that good because you're looking through my screen. You can see all of this? That's how moist, that's how moist the air is. Before it was raining, that's just like beach air, which means everything in my van is covered with that, which means I have to wash off my face to feel like it doesn't have a coat of salt on it. Today is day, I don't know what, but it's Saturday. I survived yesterday's storm. It was very exciting. And I got tons of writing done today. I'm done chapter 1. I did not, I've been scared to write a novel because it's such a different thing. Like when you write a screenplay, you're telling a story in pictures and you're putting action on the page, and you fill the white lines of the page with enough information that the actor can put the subtext there, but it's more about like action. And when you write a novel, apparently it's mostly about interiorizing what's happening, and I'm writing first person, so I'm interiorizing what my main character is experiencing, and it's so much fun. I mean, it's writing, it's like she's a lot like me except she's young, but I can so easily get in her head, and the minute I'm in her head, it's like it all just comes out. You just write like what you're thinking that she's thinking without saying she's thinking it, because it's you thinking it as her. Anyway, the reason for today's video is to tell you about this beach on a Saturday. All during the week, there were two other people here besides me, and every now and again a truck, maybe a fisherman, would drive by, or like a government agency type truck would go. They monitor the place, would drive by. But on Saturday, and during the storm, nobody was around. But on a Saturday, it is the local hotspot. All the kids are driving by in their trucks. The girls, there's one moment where the girls honked at the boys, then did a spin. The boys did a spin with her. I felt like it was an animal dance. Then the girls parked, the boys parked beside her. The girls are out on the beach, laying on the beach, sunbathing. So it's like, it's the kids' hangout. If I lived in Texas, this would be my thing. What a great way to spend a Saturday if you live nearby. You just like jump in your car and drive on the beach. It's like we used to, where I grew up, it was a nighttime thing, not a daytime thing, but with all the hot cars would hit Hatboro and drive around this one section and stop in the McDonald's, and you'd meet new people, and it was like, it was like this weird youthful ritual, and that's kind of what's happening here. And there's an ice cream truck. There's even an ice cream truck that drove by. Crazy. So it's fun. It's like people's entertainment, unless you're rich, is always simple. And this is about as simple as it gets. And also, youthful adventures usually happen with cars. Now you can see how many people come to the beach on a perfect sunny afternoon. And it's all the way around. All up there. It's interesting. I've been here for almost 2 weeks. Actually, for 2 weeks. And it's kind of like when your vacation is over and you pack up to go home. And that feeling of, oh, I'm going home. And that's so different than normal van trips where it's like you stop and then you stay over and it's like, oh, what's next? It's just a different vibe. But I'm about to go someplace else cool, so it'll start all over again. But this place is so beautiful. I will be back. I definitely will be back.